Hi, I'm Pete DeQuincy. We're going to be watching an extrication drill. It involves one rescuer, one trained staff, one backboard with a victim that will be submerged, passive, non-spinal, facing the rescuer at a depth of roughly 11 feet. We're going to go ahead and watch the drill and then come back and do a breakdown for the benefit of those new lifeguard instructors and in-service trainers. Here we go.
Alright, rescuer. What I want you to do is I want you to get to the victim, bring him up to the surface, get him to the side, and I want you to get as quickly and as safely as possible. Alright? You're going to have 20 seconds. Alright? The victims are going to be completely submerged on the bottom. Are we ready? Victim submerged. Go. 1. 20.
Alright, so let's go ahead and do a breakdown. We have two teams here. We're going to focus on the team on the left first. Let's look at what's going on. We've got a victim at the second lane line. We have rescuer and trained staff. Their backboard is on the back fence behind them. The most obvious thing that you're seeing right now is that there is no rescue tube with the rescuer. This is a choice by the agency and the rescuer. I highly encourage that rescuers still have the capability and proficiency to use a rescue tube and still do the skill without a rescue tube. Okay, so let's go ahead and see what happens here. We see that the victim is submerging. The rescuer is going to enter the water. Now this is a nice entry. He's trying to get out as far as he can. He's going into a pencil position to enter the water, so he's wanting to get as high and as far as he can to use that momentum to get himself to the victim. And he does pretty well, considering that the victim is just past the second line underwater. My comment here would be about the victim. If this was a true victim, their arms would not be up in a streamlined position above their head. The arms would probably be down by their side. So I would encourage the victim to be a better victim here. Now, looking at the rescuer, let's go back a little bit. He's going to use the bottom to push up. Alright, he's holding on to her with one arm. And did you see that there? He did a nice rotation. So she was facing the wall. Now she's going to rotate. He's rotating her. So when she comes to the surface, again, I'm still bothered by the fact that her arms are doing what they're doing. Okay? Now, let's take a look here. The trained staff has gone to the back fence, gotten the backboard, brought it to the side, and laid it out. She's getting ready to receive the victim, which is nice, really fast. And all that happened in roughly 6 seconds. Okay? Rescuers taking the victim back to the wall. And there's my next comment. Did you see that the victim raised her own arms up to the trained staff? Again, a big no-no. We want the victim to be a true victim. We don't want them to be doing any of the work. Okay. Arms are grabbed by the trained staff. And this part now, the rescuer gets out and is going to take the board and get it ready. Alright. You'll notice all the straps are pretty tied in, so they're not going to get in the way. That looks good. Now this is going to be my next comment. You see that there? See the arms of the trained staff? Her arms are crossed. Ideally, what we'd want to do is that when the trained staff positioned the victim onto the backboard, her arms stay open and not crossed. So she's got to watch on how she's grabbing the victim in the first place, so that when she opens up her arms and places the victim onto the backboard, her arms are not crossed and getting in the way. The other thing that I'm seeing here is, see how the board is slightly listing to one side? Neither rescuer or trained staff is stabilizing the board. They should be using their foot to do that, and it's not happening. As they pull the victim out, this looks good. They restabilize it. The victim's coming out. Looks good, looks good, looks good, looks good. And that's right there. You notice the trained staff? She's falling backwards. I want to strongly emphasize the personal safety of both the rescuer and the victim. Got to watch where you're going. Good communication. They're focused on the victim. No one's ever looking back, so there might be some sort of obstacles there, so I'd be concerned about that. Again, it's a good thing that you want to train your staff about personal safety. All right. And then they move into position. Let's go ahead and go back and take a look at the second team on the right and see how they did. All right. Here we go. So, team on the right enters the water. They enter exactly the same. Both are penciled in. She looks good. She's getting down to the bottom rather quickly. Okay. Victim's arms are not necessarily in that prone position or streamline like the other group, but again, they weren't completely down by the side. Another comment, or the same comment I would make in regards to like, hey, let's fix that. She pushes up off the bottom, getting that victim to the surface at an angle which looks nice. You'll see that the trained staff is getting the board, stabilizing it, placing it there, and she's coming up ready to receive. This one looks like the rescuer has the arms in the modified head splint position, so that looks pretty good. Alright, she's got the victim. She's crossing the arms. You see that? That's actually nice there. And then the rescuer is getting out to get the board ready. Alright. My big concern would be hopefully the straps do not get in the way of this maneuver, stuck under the board or anything like that. It slows it down. So let's watch her position the victim. You see that? That's nice. Let's go back and take a look at that one more time. Boom. Nicely done there. My comment would be is, again, no one is stabilizing the board, which is causing it to list slightly. But they're working very well at getting the person out. The board restabilizes itself. They're slightly skewed. The victim is slightly skewed on the board to one side, but that's not stopping them. They lower the victim equally. Looks good. And boom. Moving down into position. That looks nice. My comments for this drill would be that if we were to do a progression on it, I would work on where the placement of both the rescuer and the trained staff are, if they're going to be at the top of the head, in the cephalic position, or in the lateral position. That's actually pretty nice that you see both of them here in different ones. So I would train for both of those positions. Again, some of the criticisms I've had can be easily corrected. But this group did actually very well. Both of them did. Thanks a lot.